staffer. I was a deputy director of intelligence. I was a chief of staff to the Department of Defense and the Secretary of Defense. I led the counterterrorism missions for the White House. Those are just some of the jobs I held in my 16-year career. There was no loyalty then. There's no loyalty now to anything but the Constitution.
2 minutes ago, Mazie Hirono asked Kash Patel the simplest question imaginable. How many FBI employees have left since January 20th? And the FBI director, the man responsible for running the most powerful law enforcement agency in the world, couldn't answer. Not wouldn't answer, couldn't answer. Because either he doesn't know how many people he's fired, which means he's incompetent, or he knows and won't say, which means he's hiding something. Either way, what happened in the next 8 minutes is going to define Patel's entire tenure as FBI director. If you're new here, subscribe immediately and turn notifications on, because this isn't just another congressional hearing. This is documentation of a purge. Watch until the end, because when Hirono delivers her final line, the accusation that Patel's only qualification is 100% loyalty to President Trump, his response proves her point. Let me set the scene. Senate Intelligence Committee, afternoon session. Wood-paneled walls, C-SPAN cameras rolling, every seat filled. This was supposed to be routine oversight, budget allocations, personnel updates, standard FBI director check-in. Patel walked in with his usual confidence. You know the look, shoulders back, chin up, that I've survived worse stride. 3 lawyers behind him, 2 aides flanking the table, a folder he never opened. He's done dozens of these hearings. He knows how to handle hostile questions, how to run out the clock, how to deflect with statistics and patriotic talking points, but he wasn't prepared for Hirono. The first 30 minutes were standard. Budget allocations, counterterrorism updates, field office resources. Patel handled it fine, gave his usual non-answers, checked his watch twice. Then Hirono took the microphone, and you could feel the room that change in energy when someone who's been waiting patiently is about to strike. Director Patel, she said, her voice measured and cold. There have been significant personnel changes at the FBI since President Trump took office. I want to understand the scope. She paused. How many FBI employees have retired, resigned, been fired, or separated from employment? I need a number. Patel didn't flinch. We'll get you a number, Senator. Standard deflection. But Hirono wasn't moving on. You don't have it? Not off the top of my head, Patel replied. I want to get you the right number. Hirono paused. You could see the calculation. Would it surprise you, she said, that it's in the thousands, like 5,000? The room went quiet. 5,000, not routine turnover. A purge. Patel's expression didn't change, but his hands did. From resting casually to pressing down flat, fingers white at the knuckles. I don't think that number is accurate, he said. You don't know. Hirono shot back immediately. Next question, and that's when it unraveled. Because Hirono wasn't asking random questions, she had a list designed to corner Patel step by step, to document on the record exactly what he knew and what he was refusing to say. How many special agents or analysts have left or been fired since January? We'll get you the numbers, Patel repeated. And anyone that retires is of their own volition. Anyone terminated failed to meet standards and uphold their loyalty and oath to the Constitution. And Patel wasn't explaining. Next question. Hirono continued. How many executive assistant directors or special agents in charge have left or been fired? She wasn't asking anymore. She was documenting his refusal, on the record, for the American people to see. Next question. Which field office has lost the most personnel? Actually, every field office, including Hawaii, received a plus-up of agents because we're pushing them to the field. Deflection. A pivot from loss to gain. But Hirono saw through it. So you're telling me no field office lost any personnel? That's your answer? In Hawaii, there's been a plus-up. Patel insisted. In every state, we allocated a plus-up so the FBI can continue its historic achievements in these 7 months. And then he said it. The line that would trend within minutes. When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not giving it to you. The room exploded. Gasps from the gallery, reporters scrambling, committee members looking at each other in shock. Patel had just accused a sitting United States senator of conducting a show trial for political donations on live television during official congressional oversight. It doesn't matter, Hirono responded. her voice ice. I just want to know how many people have left. And I think your testimony is nobody has left. Nope, that's not my testimony, Patel shot back. You asked it one time. I answered it one time. You didn't get the answer you wanted for your clips, so keep asking it. I told you I'll get you the numbers, but you can keep asking it. Something electric was in the air now. This wasn't the usual congressional theater. This was personal. This was two people who genuinely could not stand each other, going head to head with no script. If you're still watching, hit the like button right now. This needs to reach more people. Comment below. Do you think Patel knows the real number? Because what comes next makes that question even more important. Which field office has gained the most personnel since January 2025? Hirono continued. You noted there have been plus-ups. Which offices received the greatest allocation was given to California and then Florida? Patel answered, California and Florida. Hirono repeated, and here's what nobody in that room was saying out loud. California and Florida, the two states with the largest immigrant population, the two states where Trump's deportation agenda was being pushed hardest. The FBI wasn't being reinforced for counterterrorism or cyber threats. It was being weaponized for immigration enforcement. You often refer to FBI agents as cops, but Congress has empowered and equipped the FBI to take on missions that local police cannot, especially taking on terrorists, hackers, and spies. She consulted her notes. The FBI is the nation's lead federal law enforcement agency for investigating and preventing acts of domestic and international terrorism. And yet the executive assistant directors in charge of the FBI's national security and intelligence branches were both forced out at the beginning of the year. Excellently qualified personnel, Patel said immediately, to lead the mission of arresting 23,000 violent criminals this year alone. That's twice as many as. He stopped himself mid-sentence, realizing he was about to name the people he'd just fired. I'm not going to give you any names so you can attack them. Why not? Hirono asked. So you can attack them. Patel repeated. I'm not doing that. But the question wasn't about names. It was about qualification, about whether the people now running the FBI's national security apparatus were actually qualified to hunt terrorists and foreign spies. FBI counterterrorism special agents and investigators were reassigned to assist with immigration enforcement. Hirono stated, have those experts remained in the jobs they trained for since that time, yes or no? FBI agents' primary responsibility is exactly what they're assigned to do, Patel began. Have they returned to their positions? Hirono interrupted. You're not going to let me answer, Patel said, his frustration finally showing. Why don't you just do your soliloquy in the 4.5 minutes you have left? I'm not asking for a soliloquy. Hirono fired back. It's just a yes or no. What was that? Hirono leaned in. They never left their primary job. Patel repeated. That's your testimony. Hirono said flatly, and moved on. Since President Trump's inauguration, the executive assistant director in charge of the criminal and cyber branch and the head of the FBI cyber division have both left. She paused. What are the names of the people who replaced them? The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI. Patel responded. 409 arrests this year, 69 convictions. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year, deflecting every direct question with achievement metrics. But Hirono wasn't impressed. I want to know who has those positions. Hirono pressed. Supremely qualified individuals have those positions. Patel said, you're not getting, we don't, and there it was, the core of the conflict. Hirono wanted accountability, transparency, answers to specific questions about who was running the most powerful law enforcement agency in the world. Patel was giving her mission statement, success metrics, deflections wrapped in patriotism. Director Patel, she said, her voice taking on a different tone now, the FBI is meant to be the tip of the spear in combating terrorism from both foreign and domestic sources. But instead of that specialized role fighting terrorists, hackers, and spies, you have the FBI playing the role of local police and helping with immigration enforcement. You're now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot do because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups? We are requiring a physical fitness program at Quantico. Patel said, Because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys. If you want to chase down a bad guy and put him in handcuffs, you better be able to do a pull-up. The reason I ask, Hirono said, is that there are concerns about whether these harsh pull-ups are really required. Doing one pull-up is not harsh, Patel countered, and there are always medical exemptions, but the subtext was clear. Patel was changing the FBI's hiring standards in ways that would systematically exclude women, older applicants, people without specific physical capabilities. And then Hirono delivered the line that would define the entire hearing. I am gravely concerned by the state of the FBI under your control. The FBI is losing dedicated employees, decades of expertise, leading to loss through early retirements, firings, and reassignment. Thousands have already left. For as long as you remain as the head of the FBI, I fear the number of departures will continue to grow. She paused. Mr. Patel, before the vote on your nomination, I noted that your most significant qualification was your 100% loyalty to President Trump, and I fear that continues to be the motivating factor in your position as FBI director. The room went dead silent, actually silent, no shuffling papers, no whispered conversations, just silence. Patel sat there, his jaw tight, his hands still pressed flat on the table, and for just a moment, maybe 3 seconds, maybe 5, his mask slipped. You could see the anger, the frustration, the exhaustion of maintaining this performance for hours. Mr. Chairman, Patel said, his voice controlled but harder now, that is an entire falsehood. You can delete my 16 years of government service to multiple administrations all you want. I was a public defender. I was a national security prosecutor. I was a House intelligence staffer. I was Deputy Director of Intelligence. I was Chief of Staff to the Department of Defense. I led counterterrorism missions for the White House. Those are just some of the jobs I held in my 16-year career. There was no loyalty then. There's no loyalty now to anything but the Constitution. The Constitution invocation, cyber divisions gutted, hiring standards changed to exclude women, all happening under a director whose primary qualification, according to a United States senator, was his loyalty to the president who appointed him. The hearing continued for another 20 minutes, but nobody was listening anymore, because the only thing anyone could think about was that number, the number Patel refused to give. How many FBI employees have left since January 20th? Within minutes, clips were everywhere. Twitter exploded, TikTok exploded, news channels cut to the exchange, and in FBI field offices across the country, agents were probably watching, wondering if they were next, wondering what loyalty meant, wondering who was actually running the bureau they'd sworn to serve. Subscribe right now, because this story isn't over. When the real numbers come out, when the subpoenas get answered, it will be here. I need to explain why this matters. For years, the FBI has been the institution Americans either loved or hated, but everyone agreed it was professional, competent, insulated from direct political control. That's over now. Patel has turned the FBI into something else, an agency where loyalty matters more than experience, where immigration enforcement takes priority over counterterrorism, where asking how many people have been fired is treated as a political attack. And the worst part, nobody knows the real number. But the fact that the FBI director can't, or won't, answer that question on the record tells you everything. What Hirono did in that room wasn't just aggressive questioning, it was documentation. She put on the record that the FBI director cannot or will not disclose how many people he's fired. She established that top leadership positions have been gutted. She accused Patel of 100% Trump loyalty, and Patel sat there and proved every single point by refusing to answer, by deflecting to statistics, by accusing her of seeking media clips, by invoking the Constitution instead of providing data. 2 minutes. That's all it took for Mazie Hirono to expose what's happening inside the FBI. 2 minutes to ask the question. Kash Patel couldn't answer how many people have left, and that refusal, that non-answer is going to haunt, because now every firing, every reassignment, every early retirement is going to be measured against the number he wouldn't give. The truth is coming out, one hearing at a time, one refused answer at a time.
Share this video everywhere. This conversation needs to grow. And if you haven't seen last month's exchange where Representative Jordan asked Patel the same question and got similar non-answers, watch that to understand the full pattern. This strategy has been building for months. Every time Congress asks for numbers, Patel deflects. Every time oversight demands accountability, he hides.